Hey guys, today we're going to be discussing the Clash Royale final balance changes for the month of June. So, the work in progress balance changes have been slightly altered. Here are the final changes. Boss Bandit nerf is remaining the same with a 3% decrease on the HP. Although Boss Bandit has found her place in the meta, but she survives and dashes to towers too, often with very little HP. We're nerfing her HP slightly to make those frustrating situations less frequent. Now I'm surprised they decided to keep this nerf because the whole community was complaining that it was too small. 3% is really insignificant, and everyone was like, she's only getting a 3% HP nerf, what the fuck. So I'm surprised they kept it and didn't increase it to 5 or 6. So yeah, Supercell, you kind of missed on this one. But yeah. Thankfully, they decided to add the Goblin Hut to the final changes. They weren't in the original work in progress changes. So Goblin Hut is receiving an HP nerf of 6%, and then also a spawn speed nerf, so it's gonna spawn every 1.8 seconds instead of 1.7 seconds. I think this is a good nerf because Goblin Hut, if you didn't know, has more HP than a Barbarian Hut, and it's costs 2 less elixir, so that was really broken. So since the rework, Goblin Hut has been dominating other defensive building options. While the new addition to the meta is welcome, we need to tone it down across the board. So I'm very happy they decided to add this to the changes. I hope this will be enough because, it's nothing too crazy of a nerf, so I hope this will be enough to make it balanced because it's currently one of the most broken cards in the game. So they're buffing the lightning nerf. That makes sense because in the work in progress balance changes, the lightning was receiving a minus 17% crown tower damage nerf, and they're slightly changing it to only 10% crown tower damage. So lightning is an important spell that counters powerful 5 elixir support troops, but it currently deals excessive damage in crown towers, making it a bit too punishing. So I think this is a good nerf to the lightning because 17% was crazy. I did the math, and 17% would have made lightning do 383 damage to a crown tower, which is 70 more than a fireball. So yeah, that was definitely too big of a nerf, so I'm happy they changed it to 10%. I think this is perfect for lightning because it is pretty OP, to be honest. A lot of people say lightning's only strong because Evo Witch is strong, and it's before Evo Witch was in the game, the shit was OP, so I don't want to hear that excuse. Okay. The Evo Ice Spear nerf is remaining the same. It's getting a minus 33% damage on the Ice Blast, so Ice Spear Evo is still one of the strongest evolutions, so we're dialing back its power by reducing its damage while keeping its stun intact. So yeah, it's just the same nerf, and I'm okay with this because it is one of the most broken cards in the game. So yeah, good nerf. Also, sorry if I sound weird. I'm wearing my retainers right now, so sorry if I sound weird. So the Evo Witch nerf is staying the same. She's gonna heal 12% less per skeleton, and you know what? I think they should have changed this because after the work in progress balance changes came out, I feel a lot of people were complaining that Evo Witch should only heal from her own skeletons. I feel that's just what makes the most sense, but Supercell does not want to do that because I guess they're still milking this Evo out, so it's too early for them to nerf her to the ground. But yeah, disappointed, I guess. I think Evo Witch is a little too strong, and this nerf seems not very, like, effective. So, yeah. So they actually added an Evo Hunter / Hunter rework to the balance changes, which is kind of unexpected because people wanted an Evo Hunter nerf, but they responded with the rework. So here's how it's gonna work. The Evo Hunter is getting a nerf, so the net duration is only gonna last 3 seconds instead of 4 seconds, so it's getting a 25% nerf, so your troops won't be trapped for as long, I guess. And then it's also getting a net cooldown of 25%, so Hunter basically has to wait 5 seconds between every net. He can't just like spam it, so it's gonna take a little longer for him to actually use his net. So this is overall a good nerf. However, the base Hunter is getting a buff. It's getting a first hit speed buff from which is minus 13%, which means he's going to be able to get his first hit off quicker. So as soon as he sees his target, he's going to be able to shoot them a little faster. And this is, I would say, so it's basically a buff to the Hunter, but a nerf to the Evo Hunter. So I don't think the buff was necessary. I think Hunter is balanced. But they're basically saying, oh, Hunter's only an RG, so we can't nerf the Hunter. But it's like, no one asked you to nerf the Hunter, just nerf the Evo. You don't have to touch the regular one. Basically, their reasoning is Hunter Evo net was too effective at shutting down larger troops, but Hunter is mostly seen in RG decks. We're adding some downtime to the net while buffing Hunter himself, making the card less frustrating to face and more viable in a wide range of decks. So you guys let me know what you think about the Hunter rework. I don't know how I feel about it really. I don't know. So they changed the Little Prince buff. It was originally a 3% damage buff and they're kind of giving it a bigger buff. So they're increasing the Guardian damage by 1%, and you might wonder, oh, 1%, like that's barely anything, like it doesn't make a difference. Well, now it can one-shot goblins, so that is actually pretty huge. And then they're also they're also buffing the ability damage by 11%, which is really big. So the reason they're doing this is because Little Prince has been underperforming compared to other champions, and when he is played, it's often just for the 3-card cycle rather than his ability. We're buffing Royal Rescue to make it more competitive option, because yeah, Little Prince, people only use him because he's the cheapest champion, so you could get that 3-card cycle quicker. They don't actually use him for the ability because the ability is 3 elixirs, so a lot of the time it's not even worth the elixir. It's the most expensive ability. It's people just use it for the fact that it's a 3 elixir card, and people don't really use Little Prince because of his abilities. So I think it makes sense why they're buffing the ability, but I don't think it was like a necessary balance change. Like Little Prince, it's not super bad, it's not super, like, I don't think it needed like an 11% damage increase. Maybe like something smaller would have been better, but whatever, it's not a big deal, I guess. Yeah. So the cannon cart buff is remaining the same. It's getting a 5% HP buff, and the Goblin Demolisher buff is also remaining the same. It's getting a 25% lifetime after 50% HP buff. So once it reaches that 50% HP, it's going to be alive for 10 seconds instead of 8 seconds. So it's probably going to be able to connect to the tower more frequently. So I think these are okay buffs, to be honest. I'm not really complaining. Lastly, Rune Giant and Wizard Evolution are keeping their buffs. So the Rune Giant's getting a 6% HP buff, and the Wizard is getting a 22% explosion damage buff. So when his shield explodes, he's gonna do a lot more damage from that explosion. So these changes are staying the same. Rune Giant and Evo Wizard have been among the weakest cards in the meta, so we're giving them straightforward buffs to help players find more success with them in the arena. I don't necessarily disagree with these changes. Evo Wizard and Rune Giant are one of the worst cards in the game, and I'm happy they're not, overdoing it, because Rune Giant is like not a card that you really want to be meta. So I think 6% HP should be fine. And then the Wizard Explosion, I mean, like I said in my last video, it's probably going to be annoying, but since it's one of the worst Evos, I think you could justify it. Anyways, these are all the changes. I have some issues with them, but overall they're okay. I think they should have nerfed Boss Bandit more. I think, I'm happy they kind of toned down the lightning nerf. And yeah, let me know what you guys think.